Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Staats Cotsworth, starring in an episode of Casey Crime Photographer, going back to December 11th, 1947. A millionaire killed right after making out a new will.
The Anchor-Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Say, Casey, I'll bet you photographed a lot of famous people.
Well, I'm not so sure, Ethelbert.
How come?
Well, it's like this. Many a guy who looks like a ball of fire today is nothing but a wet match tomorrow.
Oh, I get it. You gotta wait before you're sure a guy is really famous.
Right. Sometimes it takes years and years to ensure fame.
Sure, like the years and years of leadership that have made Anchor-Hocking the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor-Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, The New Will. One of the showplaces of our city is the mansion of multimillionaire Bradford Randall. In the richly furnished library of this mansion at 8 o'clock in the evening, Randall, his daughter Agatha, and a dapper, handsome man face each other in angry...
This is one time, Father, that you're not going to have your own way. I've made up my mind to marry Giuseppe, and that is that.
Oh, no, Agatha. You only think you're going to make this gigolo my son-in-law.
Do not call me a gigolo, Mr. Randall.
Oh, then what are you?
I'm a man of honor who comes to you like a gentleman and asks for your daughter to be my wife. For that, I'm insulted.
How much money have you got, Mr. Runover?
I'm Count Ranover.
All right, count. But answer my question.
Money is not everything.
Well, you're not finding a soft spot with me.
Father, I won't let you.
Shut up, Agatha. Now then, you get out of here, Runover, and stay out.
If he goes, I go with him.
If you do anything foolish, Agatha, you'll regret it. And so will your boyfriend. And to convince you both that I mean business, I'm going to make out a new will tomorrow that will cut off Agatha with the minimum bequest allowed by law.
Father.
You know I don't bluff, Agatha. Tomorrow morning, I'll have Devins draw up a new will. And it'll stand until you come to your senses.
Come on, Giuseppe. Let's get out of here.
Yes, Agatha.
You'll be back, my dear. And still single.
You? Oh, I absolutely hate you.
I'll show you I don't bluff. Hello, this is Bradford Randall. Call Mr. Devons to the phone, will you? Hello, Devons. I've got a job for you to do first thing in the morning. No, wait a minute. You better do it tonight. I want a new will drawn up, and I want you to bring it here to me within the next couple of hours. Don't argue. Do as I tell you. Well, that's better. Now get yourself a pencil, Devons, and take notes of what I say. Well, looks as though you've done a pretty good job with this new will on short notice, Devons. So, I'm leaving practically my entire estate to, the Society for the Relief and Rehabilitation of War Victims and Displaced Persons.
You told me to name some charity. Any charity as your beneficiary?
Oh, it'll do. Of course, when that nitwit daughter of mine agrees to forget about her count, we'll destroy this and make her an heiress again. Yes, I was going to have you draw this new will up tomorrow, but Agatha and her lounge lizard might be getting married while you're doing it. But they won't after I spring this on her at breakfast. Oh, we'll need witnesses to make this good, I suppose.
Naturally.
Well, I'll get my butler and... Fieldston!
Yes, Mr. Randall.
Fieldston, get one of the other servants and come in here, will you?
There's only the upstairs maid on duty now, sir. It's after 11 o'clock.
Well, she'll do. Get her and hurry up, will
Very
you?
well, sir.
After 11. By the time I get
Now,
home...
quit your crabbing, Devons.
Well, why shouldn't I
You'd
crab?
better not. I made you, and I can break you.
Oh, I didn't mean it.
Here is Sophie, the maid.
Oh, come in, Sophie, come in. I want you and Fieldston to sign a paper.
What kind of paper?
What does that matter? Here's a pen. Here.
Excuse me, sir, but I have been told never to sign my name to anything I have not read over, sir.
When you work for me, you do as I tell you.
Wait a minute, Mr. Randall.
Huh?
From a legal standpoint, this girl and your butler must know what they're signing. Sophie, Fieldston, this document is a new will in which Mr. Randall bequeaths the bulk of his estate to the Society for the Relief and Rehabilitation of War Victims and Displaced Persons.
Oh, if that is the case,
You
sir...
needn't have explained all that in order to make the thing legal, Devons. I'll tear this will up as soon as that girl of mine gets some sense. Well, here's my John Hancock.
Now, you sign here, young woman, as a witness.
Yes, sir.
You, Fieldston, here.
Very good, sir.
All right. That's all. You can go now.
Thank you, Mr. Rand.
Oh, Fieldston.
Yes, sir.
Have me called at 7 in the morning.
Yes, Mr.
And get my daughter up at the same time. I want her to have breakfast with me.
Bring up some more lemons, Walter.
Okay, Ethelbert. I should get more sleep.
Hello, Ethelbert.
Huh?
Casey.
Hi, pal. I think so. I'm never sure at this hour of the morning.
What are you doing around here? It's only a little after 8.
Working the early shift this week, 8 in the morning till 4 p.m. Have Walter Russell me have some coffee, will you, pal?
Hey, Walter, breakfast for Casey. Bring it here to the bar.
Okay.
I suppose you reported for work, then made a quick sneak before your city desk got wise. Huh?
Guy's got to eat, doesn't he?
Well, look at me. I already had 6 wheat cakes, half a grapefruit, a plate of ham and eggs, 2 cups of coffee, pineapple. I feel fine.
Yeah, you're looking. Well, don't mention food again till I get some.
Casey.
Hello, Annie. Good morning.
Come on, get on your bicycle. We're going places.
What? Not till I exercise my
Oh,
teeth,
yes,
Annie.
we're going to Bradford Randall's house right now.
Bradford Randall?
The Bradford Randall. One of his servants went to call him about an hour ago, about 7 o'clock, and found him dead with a bullet through his heart. Captain Logan and his homicide squad are at the house now.
Holy jump.
Bradford Randall's one of the biggest guys in this town.
And one of the crookedest, too.
But his murder is front page and double column, Casey. Come on.
Okay, cancel my breakfast, Ethelbert.
It'll be on the fire by now,
Well, then
Casey.
eat it yourself.
But I had... Well, after all, I ate just a little snack almost an hour ago.
Our story will continue in just a moment.
December 11th, 1947, Casey Crime Photographer on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station, December 11th, 1947, Staats Cotsworth as Casey Crime Photographer.
What happened, Captain Logan?
One of the servants discovered Randall dead in his bed when she went to call him, Miss Williams. He'd been shot through the heart around 3 a.m., the M.E. says, with his own gun, a .45 automatic. We found the gap, but it had been wiped clean of the fingerprints.
Well, that rules out suicide. Any suspects, Captain?
Too many, Miss Williams. Off the record, suspect number 1 is a party boy who calls himself Count Giuseppe Ranova. He'd been out with Randall's daughter and brought her home about an hour before the murder was committed.
What's his possible motive?
You don't read the gossip columns, Casey. Miss Ronova's been giving Miss Randall a heavy rush.
Yeah, she was all set to marry the guy. Some of the servants heard a noisy quarrel between Randall, his daughter, and Renova early last evening, during which Randall said he'd disinherit her if she didn't give Renova the heir. He threatened to change his will first thing this morning. But after daughter and boyfriend left, both pretty sore, Randall got his lawyer and executed a new will last night. It cuts Agatha Randall out of the estate, and how?
Yeah, but at 3 a.m., when he was murdered, Renova thought she was still a big heiress.
That's the picture. She's suspect number 2. Either one may have killed Randall to prevent him making a new will, which they didn't know had already been made.
I've met Agatha Randall, and I can believe she'd kill her own father if he got in her way.
Oh, she must be a sweet character, just like her old man. What are your other suspects, Logan?
Anyone who was in this house. For instance, there are 16 servants, and the only one who seems sorry that Randall's dead's the butler, Fieldston. I'm not convinced he's very sincere.
Popular guy, this Randall. Renova, after he left Miss Randall at the door downstairs, could have gotten into this bedroom by climbing that trellis, Logan, you know?
Sure. And so could anyone else. Howard Devens, for example.
Randall's lawyer?
He had no love for his boss.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I'm expecting Devens here any minute. I'm letting him have the will we found. He'll need it to settle the estate.
Now, where'd you find the will?
Lying folded on top of that dresser. Well, let's get out of this room and go downstairs.
Oh, I beg your pardon, sir.
What are you doing outside this door, Fieldston?
I was just about to knock, Captain. Mr. Devens has arrived, and I came to tell you, sir.
Where is he?
Downstairs in the library with Miss Randall. And Count Renova's there also, sir.
Get that maid who was your co-witness to the will last night, Fieldston, then both of you come to the library.
I'll get Sophie at once, sir.
Come on, Miss Williams. Casey.
You know, Logan, it looked as though that butler was listening at the door.
It looked very much that way.
Why do you want him and that maid in the library, Captain?
Verify their signatures on the will before I hand it over to Devens.
Oh, I see.
Now, there's the library.
Now, I won't believe that will can stand up in court, Mr. Devens. My father never meant to cut me off.
I drew that will, Miss Randall, and it'll stand up.
But...
Oh, Captain Logan.
You're Mr. Devens?
Yes.
Mind if I shoot some pictures here, Logan?
Oh, go ahead, Casey.
I mind. I've had enough of you policemen and newspaper people around here. This is my house, and I want...
Remember the will, Miss Randall. This is not your house.
Oh, Giuseppe, what am I going to do?
Do not worry, my Agatha. I will find lawyers who will break for us that crazy will.
Well, of
Count
course,
is an optimist,
Darling,
Annie.
it's ridiculous.
And how he declares himself in. Isn't this a gorgeous room?
It's about the last word, I say. No windows in it. I guess that's for all-year-round air conditioning, huh?
Mm-hmm. And invisible lighting.
I'll lay down this film case and get a few shots.
Oh, excuse me, Captain. Here's the maid, sir.
Oh, yes. You're the girl who witnessed Mr. Randall's will last night with Fieldston?
Yes, sir.
Well, look, I can't make out this signature. What's your name?
Zofia Jadwiga Elżbieta Kupolwajczyk.
No.
I think Captain Logan will call you Sophie.
Yeah. Well, look at this document, Sophie. Is it the one you witnessed?
I have been told never to say a thing I'm not sure of, sir. Can I look at the paper close and careful?
Yes, I want you to. Yeah, take it.
Thank you, sir. What is that?
Shot a picture of you, Sophie. Sorry if the flashbulb startled you.
It did, sir. Excuse me for being so foolish.
Look, do you identify that will?
It looked like the paper I saw.
Look at the signature, Sophie, and the rest of it. Is it your signature?
Oh, yes, it is me. I write that last night. It is the will.
Well, I'm glad we got that settled. Hey!
What happened to the lights?
Where's the switch? Turn on those lights.
I'll find the switch, sir. There.
Oh, what?
Sophie.
What happened to you?
Somebody hit me when the lights go out and pulled that paper from my hand.
The will.
The will is gone.
All right, every one of you's been searched, and we didn't find the will. But someone in this room switched off the lights, struck Sophie, and took the will from her hand, and whoever did it isn't going to get away with it. Now, the thing's somewhere in this library, and my men will find it if they have to tear the walls down. Sergeant. Yes, sir. You and the boys go to work.
Okay, Captain.
Everybody else, get out of here.
You can seriously believe that I had anything to do with this strange theft?
You were in this room, and the will disappeared, Devens.
But of course you consider poor Miss Randall your principal suspect, Captain.
What makes you think my principal suspect isn't you, Mr. Renova?
Count Renova.
Now, all of you get out of here. Now, don't try to leave this house.
Come, Giuseppe. It will be a pleasure to get away from these people.
A great pleasure, my Agatha.
Hey, you and Miss Williams get out, too, Casey.
Well,
Let me get my film case, pal.
I'll bring your photographic case, Mr. Casey.
Oh, thanks, Fieldston. Well, just put it down in the hall here.
Very good, sir.
I'm closing this library door, Sergeant. And don't let anybody in, and don't you or the boys come out until you find that will.
Okay, Captain. Will you need me any more, sir?
No, go on about your business, Fieldston. I'll find you if I want you.
Very good, sir.
Casey, come into this room. And you, Miss Williams. I want to have some gab without any interruptions. Look, what do you think?
That job was timed beautifully, Logan. Right after I'd used up a flash bulb. If I'd had another one set in my camera, I could have touched it off and caught the thief dead to rights.
Didn't either of you notice who stood nearest that light switch just before the room went dark?
I didn't.
Neither did I. But I'm sure 3 people weren't anywhere near the light switch. That's yourself, Logan, the lawyer, Devins, and that little maid, Sophie.
Now, that leaves Agatha, Renova, the butler, Fieldston, you, Casey, and Miss Williams.
See, I just thought of something, Logan.
Yeah?
That butler, Fieldston, closed the door when he came into the library. But if that door had been open, the room wouldn't have gone entirely dark.
Hey, and Fieldston was trying to get an earful outside that room upstairs.
What was that?
That's a man.
Upstairs. Come on.
I see him. Say, it's the butler.
He's lying on the floor.
His head is covered with blood.
Someone socked him.
Turn him over, Logan. Open his coat.
Yeah. His heart's beating. He's only knocked out.
Hey, that paper sticking out of the inside pocket of his coat.
Casey, it's the stolen will. Oh, my head. Now, look, the doc says you haven't been badly hurt, Fieldston. You were just put to sleep pretty rough. Now, tell us about it.
Yeah, we're very curious.
Well, all I know, gentlemen, is that I was passing along the upstairs hall, and when I passed the door of Miss Randall's room, I thought I heard it open, and then something hit me.
Did you see the person who hit you?
No, Captain,
This is what you were hit with.
That silver candlestick.
Yeah. You recognize it?
It usually stands on Miss Randall's dressing table.
You heard Miss Randall's door open just before you were caught.
I thought I did, yes. Captain, do you think Miss Randall...
I'm asking the questions, Fieldston. And here's the one that pays the grand prize. Why was that will in your pocket?
Will?
Randall's new will.
No, I don't know.
Now, don't try to play innocent. You hit Sophie in that library and snatched the will.
I did nothing of the kind. You searched me.
We know why the will wasn't on you when you were searched, fella, and how you got it out of the library.
Mr. Casey, I swear...
Save it. The way I helped your scheme, Fieldston, with my film case. You stuck the will in that film case after you snatched it and before you turned on the lights. Then you carried the case out in the hall where I was dumb enough to leave it. Then you opened the case and put the will in your pocket.
That isn't true. What possible motive could
You knew that Agatha Randall, or Ranova, would pay anything you asked for that will. They wanted to destroy it.
And evidently they double-crossed you. Now, are you going to protect the person who tried to kill you, or are you going to talk?
I'm going to talk.
You're a sensible guy.
My head is beginning to clear, Captain. Now I realize that I've been double-crossed. Count Renova told me that he and Miss Randall would pay me $500,000 if I could get that new will. Well, I got it. But they double-crossed me. One of them tried to kill me. You bring them here, and I'll tell them that to their faces.
Get him, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Well, Casey, I guess that takes care of that.
It takes care of that, Logan, but you've still got the murder of Randall to solve.
Captain Logan put Miss Randall and that Count Runover under arrest, huh, Casey?
Yeah, he's holding him for questioning, Ethelbert, which means they're in jail without formal charges being lodged against him.
They've admitted nothing and denied everything, Ethelbert. And as sore as the butler is against them, he admits he didn't see either of them hit him.
I have a hunch that neither Agatha nor her phony Count bumped off Randall.
Hunches aren't accepted as evidence either, Mr. Casey.
Well, who else could be the culprit, Casey?
Culprit?
Yeah.
Oh, look, pal, you've been reading that bad literature again. Culprit. Where do you get words like that? Out of True Detective comics?
No, William D. Shakespeare mentions culprits, and Allen Edward Poe and Charles Makepeace Dickens.
Yeah, you win, pal.
Well, then tell me, who else besides Runover and Miss Randall?
Look, I'm going to ask you a question, my literary friend. Pal, if you were a lawyer, would you kill a client right after he'd signed a will leaving his money to charity, a legitimate charity that you selected, and then bust a second guy over the head in order to prevent that will from being destroyed by the daughter?
This is, hypothetical question, huh, Casey?
Yeah, highly hypothetical, Ethelbert.
Extra highly hypothetical.
Oh, lay off. Come on, what's your answer, pal?
Am I a lawyer making good dough?
Plenty, yeah.
Have I got a wife and kids?
Now, wife, no kids.
How do I get along with the old lady?
Okay, at least there's no scandal about you, anyway.
See, I gotta ask these questions, Casey, because I'm awful ignorant about the lawyer I am, see?
I see. Well, now that you're enlightened, how about it?
Tell me one thing more. Have I got good sense?
Well, I think the lawyer has.
December 11th, 1947, Casey, crime photographer. The conclusion follows these words on Classic Radio Theater. Now the conclusion of Classic Radio Theater's presentation of Casey, crime photographer, December 11th, 1947.
Say, was that a crack?
I don't know what you mean, pal.
Well, after mature deliberation, Casey, I've come to the conclusion that if I got dough, a happy family life, and ain't no crackpot, I would be a first-degree chump to take a chance of broiling myself in a hot seat by doing a job of murder.
Yeah, that's the same conclusion I reached, Ethelbert.
Now that you have Devons out of the way, where you go from here?
I don't know, Annie, but I still have my hunch.
Well, try eliminating all the Randall servants now. None of them like their boss or his daughter. Start with that little housemaid, Sophie. You can get rid of her quickly.
I'm not giving that poor washed-out gal a second thought.
That the dame who Fieldstone gave the black eye when he snatched the will?
A Polish girl. Awfully sweet. I spent quite a little time talking to her, Casey.
Yeah?
She's been in this country only a few years. She's a war refugee.
So?
Poor thing. You know what the war did to Poland. The Germans invaded and the Russians invaded, and well, she and her family had a terrible time.
How could she stand working for a guy like Randolph? Amongst all the other crooked things he did, he was a notorious war profiteer.
She witnessed that new will. She was told its provisions. Annie, come on. We're going to call on Sophie.
Yes, Mr. Casey. I killed Mr. Randall. And I hit that butler Fieldstone, too.
I was pretty sure you did, Sophie. After I started thinking, I wouldn't have accused you otherwise.
If you had not accused, I would have told the police anyway soon. Because now I'm sure they will not again lose that bad man's new will.
It leaves his money to the society, doesn't it, for the relief of war victims?
Yes.
The will won't be lost again. And it won't be broken, Sophie.
I believe you, Miss Williams.
Tell us what you meant to tell the police.
In our town, in Poland, war was very bad. I see my mother killed, and my father. My little sister Paula and I, we sleep in streets and get food where we can get it from. You would not like to hear about that. It is not nice to think of. Before, I have seen my two brothers taken away by soldiers. They never come back. Finally, my little sister, Paula, she lied down to sleep and do not wake. She was too hungry. Things happened to me, too, in the war. But I'm strong and I live. I have uncle in America who get me over here where I get job in Mr. Randall's house. Sometime I can hear Mr. Randall say how the war has made him more rich than he was before. Then last night he asked me to witness that will.
Which left his money to war victims.
Yes, and he say something which made me know he would change the will if he had the chance and leave everything to his daughter again. A woman as bad as he is.
You didn't give him the chance?
No. I went to his room while he was sleeping, and I used the gun I know he keep there.
How about Fieldstone?
I saw him take the will he had stolen from your box, Mr. Casey. I suspect he will sell it to Miss Randall, who will destroy it. I slip into her room and get candlestick. I think that is all. Now, Miss Williams, Mr. Casey, take me to police.
Casey?
Yes.
I'm not afraid, and I have no regret. You see, we who have felt war, have died many times. Another time does not matter.
We who have felt war have died many times. Another time doesn't matter.
What's that, Casey?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Bobby? Oh, nothing.
He's been muttering to himself like that ever since Sophie repeated her confession to the cops, Ethelbert.
I guess I have, Eddie.
What'll be done about that girl, Sophie?
Should be sent to a hospital for the criminal insane.
The docs say she's crazy, huh?
In the legal definition. She's incapable of distinguishing between right and wrong.
She never had much chance to get acquainted with what's right in the legal definition, did she?
No, Ethelbert. She didn't even realize that there's never a justification for murder.
That's a fact, Annie. Yeah, and many people in Europe and Asia are just like her. People who as children saw nothing but war, and whose only teaching was that might makes right, and that the end justifies the means. Boy, we're just lucky that philosophy hasn't become basic training for a lot of American kids. So far. The anniversary of Pearl Harbor was last Sunday, and in 2 weeks we celebrate Christmas. I think a lot of people over here have forgotten the meaning of both those days.
It's time all of us started thinking and doing.
Crime Photographer, starring Staats Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures, all products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. Lives are lost needlessly every year when people die of tuberculosis. You do your part to prevent tuberculosis when you buy and use Christmas seals. And be sure to do your Christmas mailing early.
December 11th, 1947, Casey Crime Photographer on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we head to Pine Ridge, Arkansas, and see what's going on in the Jot 'em Down store with Lum and Abner. This and their restaurant. Yeah, this episode originally broadcast December 11th, 1946.
Granny's, Abner. I believe that's our ring.
Dog Islam, I believe you're right.
Now, see. Hello, Jot 'em Down store. This is Lum and Abner. Down in Pine Ridge. Well, as we look in on the little community today, we find the old fellows in the Jot 'em Down store and Meadowlark restaurant. Abner's not exactly happy at the moment. Listen.
Dog Islam, now I ain't gonna do these breakfast dishes all by myself. I said I'd be willing to help out till you could hire another dishwasher, but I never said I'd take over this whole job.
Well, you won't have to do it for more than a day or two. I might not sure Cedric will decide to come back to work pretty soon now.
Well, what's the matter with you helping me out some? You ain't doing nothing but sitting there reading that book.
What do you mean ain't doing nothing?
This here happens to be a cookbook, and I'm trying to find the fanciest way there is to cook a duck.
Well, I don't care. A duck?
Yeah. I've decided that's going to be my main specialty when Mr. Duncan Hines gets here.
Is a duck a specialty?
Well, it's going to be when I get done with it.
Well, whereabouts are you going to get this specialty duck?
I've done got it. It's in the icebox out in back of the store. I mean a box, not an icebox. I got it last night from Alec Ketter.
Who?
Alec Ketter. You know who he is. Lives about halfway twixt here in the county seat. Got a poultry farm.
I thought he's raising chickens and stuff like that out there.
He is. That's what I'm telling you. Raises these fancy kind of ducks and all and sells them to some restaurant in Hot Springs.
Well, I never knowed that. Knowed where he lived, but I never knowed that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I never neither till Earl Pomeroy told me about it yesterday. Earl drove me over there to get it.
Well,
cost me a good price, too, but I figured if it'd get me a recommend from Mr. Hines, it's worth it.
Yeah, well, that ought to be good, I reckon.
Yeah, if I can just find a fancy enough receipt to go by.
Well, wait a minute, Lum. I thought you was going to have them crepe Susie zoots or whatever it is for your specialties.
Grape Zuzettes.
Well, whatever they are. Pancakes is what they are.
Well, I was going to have them for the specialty, but I found out they eat them for dessert.
Dessert? Pancakes?
Yeah. The French do, leastways.
Lord, me alive.
See, that's a French dish, when you call it by that name.
Yeah, well, just goes to show how little we know, I reckon. Here I've been eating all my life, and I've been eating all my life as far as that goes.
But here I've been making grape Zuzettes all the time, too, and never even knowed it till yesterday.
Well, practical all my life.
Till Squire Skimp bring me that receipt for 'em.
Well...
And mine was even better because they was way on or thicker than the way everybody else cooks them.
Oh, they're thick, yeah.
3 times as thick. 3 times as good, you might say.
Yeah, but what's that stuff you was telling me about taking a match and lighting them after you got them cooked?
Well, I ain't figured that out for sure myself yet. Some French idea, no doubt.
Well, if they're so bad that you burn them up, I don't see what's used to go to all the trouble to cook them in the first place.
No, it ain't that. It's just some custom, I think. Like, for instance, it says in the receipt they pour some stuff called Grand Marnier and champagne over them.
Over the pancakes?
Yeah. I think that must be the French word for molasses.
Champagne?
No, the other. Champagne is some kind of wine. Wine with soda in it.
They put that in the pancakes? Why do they pour wine with soda over the perfect good pancakes?
I think that's to dampen it down a little bit so it don't burn up when you set the match to it.
Law, them Frenchmen, what will they think of there?
Well, anyways, I'm going to have that for dessert and start off with this fancy duck for the main
You
course.
don't reckon they roll them things up and smoke them, do you, Lum?
Smoke what?
Them creep Susie zoots or...
Why, no, silly.
Well, it might be. They could roll them up like a cigar, attach a match to them. You know, like smoking a cigar after you've ate, you know.
No, I don't think that.
Try that out sometime.
Of course, now, maybe. Well, I'll tell you one thing to do, and that is watch Mr. Hines and see how he does it. Whatever he does will be the right thing. You can depend on that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Well, the thing for me to do now is to find a fancy high-class duck receipt. I was noticing one in this book here. It says something about roasting duckling with truffles.
With ruffles?
It says truffles, but I reckon they mean ruffles. More likely a misprint.
Well, you sure now, Lum, who in the world would want to eat a duck with ruffles all around it?
Well, you don't eat the ruffles, silly. That's just to make it look fancy when you're serving it. You know, like sometimes they put them little paper pants on lamb chops.
They do?
Sure. Don't you recollect that time we ate at that hotel there in Little Rock?
I don't recollect eating no lamb chops with britches on them, no place.
Yes, you do. Don't you know you ate the lamb chops, pants and all?
Huh?
You said you wondered how they got that nice crust on them. Oh, hi, Doc.
Say, boys, is this rich? That youngster. I want to read you what Ronald said.
You're so quiet back there. I never knowed you was in your office.
I got a letter from Myrtle, and Ronald's done it again.
He has?
Oh, that youngster. Smart as a whip. Talk about your clever sayings. Ronald's got them all backed right off the map. I've told Myrtle time and again to send them into the magazine. They pay $5 for them.
They pay $5 for what, Doc?
Yes. Here's one he got up just the other day. Oh, Oh, that youngster. Let me find the place in the letter here.
Yeah, just who is Ronald?
I think it's on this page here. Niles Albert was in town Tuesday and stopped by the place for a nice chat. No, that isn't it. Lum, I want you to listen to this.
Yeah, I'm listening, Doc. I just sort of glancing at this cookbook here, looking for a certain receipt.
You'll get a big kick out of this, little Ronald. Ought to be on the radio.
Well, Doc, just who is little Ronald?
Yes. Well, I'm sure it's on this page. Niles Albert was in town Tuesday and... Oh, I read that. Niles is Myrtle's cousin.
Oh?
Nice fellow.
But who is Ronald?
Ronald? Oh, that youngster. Talk about your clever sayings. They just come to him naturally. Keeps Myrtle in stitches half the time. Wait till I read you his latest one. Are you listening, Lum?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Doc.
Myrtle writes a nice hand, don't you think, Abner? See there?
Let me see. Yes, she does, yes.
Gets a nice curly Q on her ends and M's.
Oh, it's fancy, yes.
Myrtle and Niles are only a year apart.
Well,
they don't look it, though. Niles has bright red hair.
Granny, this looks like a good receipt. Cook it with oranges.
How's that?
Oh, nothing. Go on with what you're saying.
Cooked oranges. Never heard of it.
Well, it's something I'm going to fix up for a specialty when Mr. Hines comes to my restaurant.
Yes, I knew a lady in Mount Ida that cooked mushmelons for her husband.
Mushmelons?
Mrs. Schroeder, nice woman. Made quite a dish out of it. Decorated it with parsley, one thing and another.
Well?
Mr. Schroeder is now dead. Well, here I am, prattling away about the Schroeders when you're dying to hear Ronald's latest one. Let me find the place here. And to think he gets off these remarks at his age. Do you know how old that little Dickens is?
No, I don't. How old is he?
Yes. Here we are.
This ain't about Niles Albert again, is it?
No. Do you know him, Abner?
No, I don't.
He was over to see Myrtle just last Tuesday. Dropped in for a chat. But here, listen to what Ronald said.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it, yes.
The other day, Ronald was out in the backyard watching Plum. You listening?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
This is rich. The other day, Ronald was out in the barn watching Grandma help Uncle John putting new rafters in the loft. Uncle John had to go into town to get some more nails, but Grandma kept on working. About 5 minutes later, she lost her footing. Ronald thought she looked a little dazed there on the floor, and pretty soon he came in the house and said, "Grandma's off the beam again." Well, we nearly died laughing. Grandma's off the beam again. Abner, did you get it?
I ain't quite sure.
Oh, that's Ronald. Did you get it, love? And to think he's been getting off remarks like that for 11 years.
11? You mean that kid's 11-year-old?
Oh, no.
Well, I was going to say.
No, he's 15. He didn't talk until he was 4. Here, let me read that over to you again.
No, never mind, Doc.
Where was it all? Yes, Niles Albert was in town.
Last Tuesday and stopped by for a chat.
He did? Tuesday? That was the same day he was over to Myrtle. Why didn't somebody let me know he was here? Did he leave any messages for me?
I don't know. I never seen him.
Well, that's peculiar. He'd stop by, not even leave a message. I've known Niles for 22 years. Strange that he... Oh, what's the matter with me? He must be the one that left that for me.
Left what for you?
That nice duck.
Duck?
Yes. I had to come over to my office here about 12 o'clock last night to get some medicine for Mr. Johnson's goat. And I found this duck in a little box out and back. Sister Simpson's cooking it up for me.
Sister Simpson's cooking that duck?
Yes. And you know, Lum, you give me an idea. I think I'll have her try some of those cooked oranges with it.
Well, with or without ruffles, it looks like Doc has the duck.
Chester Locke and Norris Goff did a wonderful job as Lum and Abner, going all the way back to the early 30s, all the way till 1946. When Clarence Hartzell appeared, in the wacky, zany role of Ben Withers. It gave the show a great lift, don't you know? There you have it. Lum and Abner going back to December 11th, 1946. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for all these wonderfully restored Lum and Abner programs. He has them all available on cassette, CD, or on flash drive for your computer at RadioMemories.com. RadioMemories.com. Thank you for tuning in. Would you do me a favor and thank this station, support their advertisers? They would greatly appreciate it, and so would I. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be here. Visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. You can stream all of our shows, learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me there, and if you like, you can follow us on social media. And you can buy me a coffee. The Buy Me a Coffee money does not go toward buying me coffee, but acquiring additional classic radio collections and keeping our distribution channels open. That's at classicradio.stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.